Hi, you're watching India Today Global with me, Ishita Mitra, and at this hour, we bring you the biggest story from around the world. Today, our top story comes from Syria, where the situation is rapidly changing as rebel forces continue to report gains. Now, in a major development that could reshape the course of Syrian civil war, rebel forces have seized control of Daraa, a southern city. And this is just the latest victory in a rapid series of advances by opposition forces. You see, this is the fourth major city to slip from government control in just over a week. And this comes after Hama, Aleppo and Deir el-Zor was lost to the government. Now, what does this mean for Syria's future? Let's break it down. Now, the latest city captured by the rebels, Daraa, holds immense symbolic significance, as it was here that the first demonstrations against Assad's regime began in 2011. Now, what began as peaceful demonstrations quickly escalated into a brutal crackdown, and soon the violence sparked protests throughout the country. Eventually, this ignited a full-scale civil war, and since then the war has been going on in Syria with low and high phases in between. And now currently what we see, there was a low phase going on and now there's a high phase going on. Now the fall of this city to the rebels represents a powerful symbol of defiance against Assad's regime. Before the civil war, Daraa had a population of about 100,000 people, and today it remains a key administrative center in southern Syria. Now its strategic location is something that we need to understand here. It's located near the border with Jordan, and its proximity to Damascus, the capital of Syria, makes it a very crucial site. And this is for both military as well as political reasons. And that's why losing control of Daraa is not just a military setback for President Assad, but it's also a deep symbolic blow to his government. According to reports, the Syrian military agreed to a negotiated withdrawal from the city, and the deal, they say, provides safe passage for government forces, including senior military officials, as they retreat towards the capital, Damascus. Now you see, this deal was agreed against a bitter context. It was due to intense rebel pressure that was coming from multiple factions. We saw fighters, basically the rebel forces, entering the city from multiple locations, and they were advancing towards the city, and in order to provide a safe passage towards for the government officials, they had to agree to a deal with the rebel forces. Now if you see the scenes from Daraa, which have been widely shared on social media, they will show you white fighters celebrating. Rebels can be heard cheering and firing celebratory shots into the air. Take a look at these visuals. Now these are the visuals that we're getting from Daraa, where after it was seized by the rebel forces, they were seen celebrating, and these are basically the victory visuals we're getting from Syria. But despite these claims, you see, even the rebel forces have claimed that they have now control over four key cities. There's been no official comment from the Syrian military or Assad's government, and the situation has not yet been independently verified as well. Now, however, given the speed of the rebel advance, what we have seen, how the scale and the intensity, the way they have been advancing in over a week now, the apparent lack of resistance and this victory appears pretty significant for the rebel forces. Now, just days before the fall of Daraa, these rebel forces also claim to have advanced to the outskirts of Homs, another crucial city, a central city in fact, that is key to Assad's regime survival. Now, if rebels take control of Homs completely, they would cut off a crucial link between Damascus and the coastal strongholds that Assad's Alawite minority controls. You see, there has been a pattern to this ever since this assault began. Rebels have been going on, they've been capturing cities, and the first step that they take after the capture of the city is that they cut off the crucial links that connect those cities to the capital or those cities to the coastal strongholds. And this is what they intend to do if they get a hold of Homs as well, another crucial city that could fall to rebels soon. You see, it is a vital crossroads connecting the capital and the Mediterranean as well. And should it fall, Assad's forces would have to face a much harder time right now, reinforcing their coastal positions or even maintaining their control over important supply lines. Now, rebel factions, including the powerful Islamist group Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, are now calling on Assad's troops to defect or face certain defeat. We have seen this pattern is also something that we witnessed in the previous 4 assaults. They're asking the military to either come back to their side or give up. And these are the 2 options that Assad's military has right now when it comes to fighting against rebel forces in the key cities. Now, their advance towards Homs has been very swift. It's one of the most critical moments in the war so far, and Homs, you see, was once a regime stronghold, but now it's under the threat of falling into the hand of insurgents. And if you see even the road to the city, Homs, which could, fall to the rebels, is symbolic, and it's for both the sides. If the rebels capture it, they would not only disrupt Assad's hold on the country, but also gain leverage to further isolate the regime. Thousands of civilians in Homs have already fled, seeking safety in other coastal cities such as Latakia, which are loyal to Assad. Now, this movement of people indicates the growing concern among pro-regime supporters about the advancing rebel forces. There's fear among the community that what if rebel forces do capture the city, what would happen to them, what would happen to their forces, their homes and their property. So they have been, seeking shelter in other coastal cities where Assad continues to maintain hold. Now, the situation in the east of Syria adds another layer of complexity to an already volatile situation. A US-backed alliance largely composed of Syrian Kurdish fighters recently captured another city called as Deir el-Zor. Now, a significant city in Syria's eastern desert that was once a major government stronghold. This victory has significant implications for Assad as it weakens his control over the eastern part of the country and deprives him of access to vital resources and terrain. You see, there has been a pattern to this assault. Assad has been loosening his control over these cities politically and militarily. His government is weakening day by day. And the fact that these Kurdish forces, who have long been at odds with Assad, are making such gains at this point, it's a major blow to the regime. And it's not just Kurdish forces that are actually seizing the territory. There are also other elements. There are reports that Islamic State ISIS fighters are making a resurgence in the certain parts of eastern Syria. Now, you see, it's not just on one front that Assad's regime has to fight. There are multiple fronts opening against him in the country. You have Kurdish fighters, you have Islamic State, and you also have rebel forces. Now, all of them are opening fronts in different parts of the country, and Assad's military continues to be at loss of men and resources when it's confronting them on several fronts. Now, this is a troubling development definitely for President Assad, as ISIS had been largely driven out of Syria. So you see, the vacuum or the volatile situation that has been created by this assault, it's being now used by other non-state actors to gain control of areas that were once under them. And the ISIS is of course one of them. It had been driven out of the country by a US-led coalition, in fact in 2017, but now in eastern part of the country, it seems to be gaining control. And now what appears to be finding new ground amid the chaos. You see, Assad's regime has been surviving largely due to the support of key allies. You have Russia and you have Iran. Iran's proxies when it comes to Hezbollah and Hamas also support Assad. But both of these parties right now have their hands occupied. You have Russia, who's fighting a war in Ukraine. Then you also have Iran, who's busy with Israel, and tensions growing in Lebanon as well. So some reports indicate that Iran and Russia are already evacuating their people and military personnel from Syria. Now, this could signal a possible shift in their priorities, because so far it's basically on the shoulders of these two allies that Assad has been able to maintain control in the country. Over 70% of the territory in Syria was under Assad's control before this assault began a week ago. But now the situation on ground seems to be changing very rapidly. So if Russia and Iran can no longer provide the level of support that Assad needs, it could drastically undermine his chances of holding on to power. And with the string of victories, the morale of rebel forces is at an all-time high, And for the first time in years, I told you that the war, even though it has been going on for over a decade now, it has had its low and high phases. And before a week, there was a dormant phase that was going on. Rebel forces were not in power, they were not active, whereas Assad's control over the country seems to be looking like it was stable. But right now, it's not. For the first time in years, they are seeing fruits of their struggle. Rebel forces, they have captured 4 cities, 4 crucial cities, and this definitely is a major blow to Assad's regime. But what's also important to remember here is that the human cost of this Syrian war, which has been going on for over a decade, has already been enormous. According to UN data, more than 305,000 people have died since 2011. Millions have been displaced and fled their homes, and as the battle continues, civilians remain caught in the crossfire. So entire communities in Daraa, Homs and beyond are facing destruction. These are the cities where active fighting is going on right now in Syria. So, and many are being forced to flee their homes in search of safety. As we just mentioned, that so many people in these cities have been fleeing to other coastal cities which are under Assad's control to seek shelter. So now in the coming days and weeks, of course, all eyes will be on Homs, a crucial city that rebel forces intend to capture. And of course, Assad has also, deployed his forces, and we are also getting reports that Iraq might get involved and may send forces as well. Both Iraq and Iran may send forces, but whether or not will they send forces on the ground is yet to be seen. Now, can Assad's forces defend this crucial city, or will it fall into rebels' hands, further isolating Damascus, is a question that remains to be answered. And as we, continue to explore the developments, the future of Syria continues to hang in balance as the rebels continue their offensive. And now the world is watching closely to see how this critical moment in the war will unfold, and we'll continue to bring you developments as to how the situation unfolds in Syria, with rebels gaining more lands and cities across the country. Thank you so much for watching this. Stay tuned to India Today Global, where we simplify geopolitics for you.